Morning, morning. Facebookers, and you're here, Parenting Success Coach, helping you be successful in your parenting. That's an inside job, not an outside job, right? So this is what's happened yesterday. Sorry about that. Internet issues and laziness. I kind of had enough of my day by the time it was to do this. Anyway, I'm fully back. So let's talk technology. Right? Let's talk about technology that we're going to give as gifts. Technology perhaps they already have that we sort of are leaning into the holidays and having a little fear and a little concern about when there's no school schedule, how they might suddenly be on their game consoles forever, right? If you're joining me or if you have a comment about this afterwards, please leave it and I will come and back and discuss that. Okay. So there's this lovely lady, Janelle Burley Hoffman, who I'll post her link below. Anyway, I had heard about her through, trying to remember, through this parenting workshops that were going on online. And listening to her talk about technology and how, you know, part of it is that we are aware that the internet is here to stay. We have the internet, right? And it is part of our children's lives, right? And we want to sort of set some very clear boundaries at the beginning when they get a game, or if you're deciding on giving your child a phone, based on their age, right? Based on not just their age, but their emotional capabilities, that are able to self-regulate. And let's be honest here, for many of us, even now at 50, self-regulation is a tough one, right? Even though I might know better, I can spend a few hours just scrolling, right? So it's going to be the same for our children, even more so based on their little learning brains. So for Janelle, she's talking about a contract, and it's she has it online that you could give before you give a phone to your child, and that's definitely worth a look. I agree with some of the statements, actually many of the statements, some not so much, but on there, so that it becomes a discussion, so that ahead of time we know what's going to go on. When mine were little, there wasn't much internet around. My son is 21. But we did already have an issue, and I think it was grade 1 or 2, with Google, and we didn't know as much about it. So she talks about too about how as parents we're learning, and this is your field, we're learning about technology and the wonderful worldwide availability. So we want to tap into where our fears are, right? And when my son was little, I didn't know anything about Google, and a friend of his had told him you can put in go to images in Google and type in bums, I think it was, and the computer froze with a nice big bum on the screen. My husband caught, he was in on that. And so it's just those awarenesses. They're curious, they're going to want to look at things and see things, but also there's, as a parent, you want to protect them from certain visuals, obviously, and certain information. And I know I'm not a computer person, so I know there's loads online. But ideally, I love this. She says this: digital parenting is not about technical, it's relational, right? That's so important. So it's the relationship you have with that child and to parent that particular child, right? Based on what you already know about them, and have them in on the discussion, right? Have very clear boundaries, but talk to them about, if they're on their game all the time and you're seeing that when they get off, they're very angry, very upset, or you're feeling that they could do something else with their brain, talk about it. Have a family meeting, discuss about, what do you think is necessary? How can I help you get off there? How can I help you self-regulate? What do you need from me to support you? And for me, I don't think it's good for your brain to be on it for such a long time. Make it a conversation, make it a respectful way of being together, right? Putting on time limits, right? Have it as a discussion. They're never going to be happy to come off. They're not like going to be skipping, right? So where are our expectations in that? And there's so much for the internet and for games that are wonderful and very powerful as a learning tool. right? And so working with that, working with those ideas, being aware of, some leeway, but also being aware of, helping support them. And even if we have very strict rules at home, they do go to friend's house, they do go to relatives' house, it's going to be around. So you want to start the conversation early about expectations. And lovely mamas and papas, we need to live that, right? If we are always on our phone, if we are always hooked into something, right, what is that demonstrating? Right? We want to stay connected. We want to have connections. So maybe if your child's really into a game, maybe you sit with them for a little bit and let them talk to you about it and sort of try to connect to them in their world. That's not of interest to me, but I would do it just as a way of kind of keeping base of what kind of game they're playing. Because we can bury our heads, but it's pretty extreme what's out there. I didn't have all those rules around a phone when my son got one. I can't remember what age he got one, but it was obviously, I think, in his teens. I don't know, shouldn't say that. But we want to make sure that, like, I didn't think about any rules ahead of time, right? And some people joke about it's great when you give your kids phones or technology because you have sort of a bartering tool to take away. But is that the relationship we want, right? But I wish I had have known more at that time before the phone, so that those boundaries were set up. Now, it's never too late if you're already feeling like, wow, that's on their phone. But maybe they're learning something. Maybe they're talking. It's different to the one-on-one. But we have a way of saying, right, no phones at the table, no phones in the evening, no games in the evening, whatever it be, right? As a parent, you can help set those boundaries, but let's not do it with this firm, crazy hand, but as a discussion, okay? So I hope that gives you some tools. I know for Janelle Burley, she talks about the phone is mine. I'm gifting it to you, but it's still mine. She talks about signing a contract. These are how you never say anything in the text or written over a phone that you wouldn't allow your mum to see or your teacher to see, right? To help with how quickly it is to get into feeling that nobody else will see this. Right? They live in this world. They believe that it's just a private world, and it's not, right? So I'll leave you with that. Take care. My live tomorrow will be around overwhelm and dealing with the energy of everybody. And so let me know. Any other topics? Feel free to let me know. Take care.